Hello, this is Mr. Collier, and today we're looking at the distance, midpoint, and right-angled trigonometry review of things we did in the past. Okay, so this is in the formula booklet. This is under prior learning, the distance formula and the midpoint formula. And some new formulas are a 3D distance formula and a 3D midpoint formula, but they're obviously very similar, it's just one more variable. So if you look at the distance formula, or the midpoint formula first, this is just, it's got a comma here to separate the x value and the y value, and this is just the average of the x values and the average of the y values. So in this first question, we're talking about the endpoints of a diameter of a circle. Let me draw a circle with a diameter. We got A and B here. So if you want to find the midpoint, which is the center of the circle, we can use this formula here. Okay, so the midpoint is average of the x values, -3 plus 0 over 2, average of the y values. We can leave this as a fraction or write it as -1.5, and this is 6. Okay, so it's a very simple formula to use. And the distance formula is very similar. It's just substituting in the values. We've got, so subtract the x values. We've got -3 minus 0 squared. And then we've got 5 minus 7 squared, which equals, I'm going to simplify a little bit. And now those are pretty easy to work out. 3 squared and 2 squared. But you could just type it into the calculator to step and let it spit out an answer. But it's pretty easy. It's 9 plus 4 is 13. And you can even leave your answer like that unless they ask you for a decimal. If you look at it on the calculator, you're going to get 3.61 rounded to 3 significant figures. Okay, next, this is a little bit more challenging. This is where we're given the midpoint. We have to find x. So these two values are the values that go in the formula. So sometimes you're just going to use the x part or the y part. We can just use the x part to solve this. Okay, the average of the x values from the formula equals the x value of the midpoint, which is given. It's -3. Okay, so we're using the formula now to set up an equation to solve for x. To solve for x here, we multiply by 2, and we get, these 2's cancel. We get x minus 1 equals -6. So we get x equals -5. Okay. Next is a review of right-angled trigonometry. Remember, SOHCAHTOA only works for right-angled trigonometry. And this is not in the formula booklet, so you should remember SOHCAHTOA. That means sine equals opposite over hypotenuse, cosine equals adjacent over hypotenuse, and tangent equals opposite divided by adjacent. So how do we figure out which one it is? Well, we look at the picture and the angle that's given. So from that angle, the opposite side is this one. The hypotenuse is always opposite the right angle, so this is the hypotenuse. That means this is the adjacent. In the question, we have x here, and we have the adjacent, so we have to use opposite and adjacent. That means tangent. So the equation we have to use is tan of the angle equals opposite divided by adjacent. And so this is 20 tan 24 equals x. Okay, we'll type that into the calculator. Now for MAISL, we always use degree mode, so make sure we have a degree symbol up there, not a pi symbol. Make sure you're in degree mode. Alright, let's clear everything off the screen. Let's do 20 tan 24. And we get 8.90. Okay, next, this looks like it's also tangent because we have opposite and adjacent. So tan 42 equals x over 40. Actually, oops, I got that backwards. The opposite is actually 40 over x. So in this case, you gotta multiply by x, and you get x tan 42 equals 40, and then we have to divide by tan 42. So it's 40 divided by tan 42, which if you put that in a calculator, rounded to 3 significant figures, is 44.4 centimeters. And the next one here, this is adjacent and hypotenuse. So this is a cosine question. Cosine A equals adjacent divided by hypotenuse. And when we're looking for an angle here, we have to do the inverse operation of cosine, which is inverse cosine, or arc cosine, as it's called on the HP prime calculator. Don't get confused with the a's. This a is a variable. This is a as a part of a word, arc cosine. So we just type that into your calculator. It's there in blue, so we do shift arc cosine 9 over 12. So we get 41.4, and units are degrees because it's an angle. Okay, also not in the form booklet is are the terms elevation and depression. Okay, elevation goes up, depression goes down from the observer or from a certain point. And it's the angle that's always made with a horizontal line. Okay, so let's check it out. In this picture, the angle of elevation is the one going up from the observer, like maybe a person. Okay, so if they're looking up at a certain angle, that's called the angle of elevation. If they're looking down at a certain angle, that's called the angle of depression. So moving on to some word problems. Here's a boat. Let's complete the right angle triangle here. The top of the cliff is 50 meters. The angle of depression of a boat straight out to sea is 15 from the cliff top. So that's where we're originating from. So we can't say this angle is 15. That's not made with a horizontal line. If you're standing on top of the cliff and you're looking down at the boat, the angle that you're looking down at is an angle made here, 15 degrees. This is the angle of depression. Okay? It's never this. It was always made with a horizontal line, like this imaginary horizontal line. Like if you were standing here looking straight ahead, that would be 0 degrees. Then if you look down 15 degrees, this is the angle your eyes would make. Okay, now this is not in the right angle triangle, but luckily this angle here is the same as this angle here because these lines are parallel. So now we have a triangle and we can figure out whatever we need. We want to find the distance of the boat from the foot of the cliff. So that's x right there, right? So do we use sine, cosine, or tangent? Well, we have opposite and we need the adjacent, so it's tangent again. Tangent is the most common one to use in word problem situations. Opposite divided by, I got it backwards again. So from the angle 15, opposite is 50 and x is adjacent. So that means we're going to be multiplying by x and then dividing by tan 15. So we get 50 divided by tan 15. Let's do that on the calculator. And we get 187 rounded to 3 significant figures. 187 meters. Okay, the next question, we've got a few triangles happening here. A few right triangles. They give us one measurement and a couple of angles. The angles of elevation and depression are 55 and 18 respectively. So that means elevation is 55 and the depression is 18. So these two angles are given. The question asks you to find the height of the building. Now you're already given some part of the building is 6.5. So we basically need to find this one here, the distance CB. Okay, we need to find CB. We already have BD. BD is 6.5. We need to find CB. And this question, we might need to do 2 steps. So we have 6.5 down here in this triangle. So let me redraw that triangle. This triangle, oops. Let me redraw this triangle ABD. Okay, this triangle down here, this is ABD. And this is 18 degrees, and we got this side length is 6.5. So we can figure out the distance AB, which is also in triangle ABC. So this distance here, let me draw that in red. We need to find this distance, which is in both triangles, and then you can find the height CB. So let's find that first. Let's do that over here. We're going to use tangent again, because we're looking for adjacent. So tan 18 equals 6.5 over AB. So that means AB tan 18 equals 6.5, and AB equals 6.5 divided by tan 18. Okay, now let's type that into the calculator. We get 6.5 divided by tan 18 is, well, that rounds to 20, but this is not the final answer, so we're going to need to use all the digits later. 20 point, let's call it 20.0 dot dot dot. The dot 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 mean we're going to use all the decimals later. So let's draw this triangle. The triangle on top, A, B, C. We know the bottom is about 20. We know the angle is 55. So we can find the distance CB. Okay, so again, it's tangent. Tan 55 equals CB over 20.0 dot dot dot. So CB equals 20.0 times tan 55. Okay, on the calculator you can just copy and paste times tan 55. And you get rounded the three significant figures. Oh, we don't need to round yet. It's still not the final answer. 28.57 dot dot dot. By the way, the question asked for 2 decimal places. So the height of the building is 28.57 plus 6.5. So let's just add 6.5. And to 2 decimal places is 35.07. 35.07, I'm guessing that's meters.